Hi everyone, it's Cam Buchanan from the International Day Trading Academy with this week's episode of Trading Success Podcast. Welcome along. Let's get into it. It is the start of December and we're going to look at the news to start. So let's have a look. So today is the Wednesday the 4th. We've got a non-farm employment change, ADP Non-Farm Employment Change at 11:15 p.m. tonight Queensland time. There were some job openings results this morning. I'll update that to see how it all came out. So you can see we had job updates in the US looking very positive, 7.74 million new jobs created. And also, if you look at the manufacturing from Tuesday night as well, 48.4. So we're seeing an increase in manufacturing PMIs, which is very positive. And you can see the final PMI was announced on Tuesday as well. So things are looking pretty positive in terms of the production there in the United States. Everything's had a bit of a kick along since the Trump election win, which is exciting to see. Let's have a look on Thursday. We've got crude oil inventories coming out. We've got ISM services on Thursday morning as well. So this will be late tonight if you're trading staying up late Wednesday night. This will be early Thursday morning. And then we've got OPEC meetings in the morning, on Thursday evening at 7, pretty much all day. And in other US news, we've got non-farm employment change this Friday. So those red flag news on Friday night are always pretty volatile. So 11:30 at night Friday. So that's about it in terms of news. Let's get straight into the charts to see what is happening now. Right now, as we speak, we've got NASDAQ is breaking all-time highs. So we broke all-time highs up here just today in the Asia Open. We had last hour of trade in the US market was insane. The market just popped very strongly. If we have a look at the 30-minute chart, we can see what happened. Here, the market was holding above its trend indicators, and then on the close, you could see we created this little profile of volume here, and the market held above it and kept going. If we looked at our 15-minute time frame, we were holding above 50% on the 15-minute time frame, which I don't know if I can show you the 15-minute time frame. I'll show you the 15-minute while I've got you here. I can show you, what we were seeing this morning. Right here, the market was holding above this level, and then we popped to the upside. So that was kind of right at the end of trade. I'll just run a fib over here. You see the market came back and it was holding above this 50, and then we shot off in the last 15 minutes of trade, which was, the last 30 minutes of trade was very strong. So that was the MES, but NQ that's the S&P 500, but the NASDAQ was let's have a look. I can find the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ was, here we go. Here's the NASDAQ. This is what I'm talking about. So we were holding here. Above this level here. So that 15-minute there. So we kept holding above this 15-minute here, and we kept going. And even if we look at this retracement here, it came back and it was holding also above that 50 retracement, got back above it, and then kept going. But the main thing was this one here. You can see the market came back, and then it couldn't close below the 50-minute there, and it was just looking really solid, and then end up going all the way up. So that's an interesting little move that happened this morning. If you were trading the US close. So what are we looking for tonight? Well, there's complete open space now here on this market. Like this market could go all the way up to these expansions. So 21,600 looks like we could be breaking out to. Looks like this market's just going to continue its move higher. However, if it does double top up here, there's plenty of room to the downside as well. You can see there's a little bit of imbalance here that will be filled, but this market is well and truly out of balance. So So basically what's happened after the election is we had the big rally on election day, we had the market has sold off, and we were grinding the last 2 weeks to the upside, and then this week we've really started to break out and move up higher. So it's been quite bullish this week. We've hit some really good targets. As soon as we got above 21,000, we predicted on Sunday when we did some analysis, we would get to 21,100. That was the target. And then once we've got beyond that, now we're up to 21,300. And now we could go to 21,500, 21,600. It could be an expansion zone. But once again, we are coming to a major chart pattern in terms of double top. So if we see failure here, then we could get a rejection all the way back down to this imbalance zone, which is roughly, if I grab my, looking for a fill down through here, so back down to 21,130 and in that area there. So we could get a retracement back down there before another leg back up. So let's have a look at the S&P 500. So the S&P 500, the ticker code is ES, or is the E-mini S&P 500, or the MES is the micro version. Now we've been at all-time highs for a little bit longer with the S&P 500. We broke all-time highs last week, and you can see today being Wednesday, we're grinding higher as well with the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ has finally caught up to the S&P 500. NASDAQ was a little bit lagging, but NASDAQ's a little bit still behind S&P 500 in terms of its movement above the high or all-time high, but we're in all-time high territory. So it looks like 6,100 looks like the next target, and if we get above there, then we'll just obviously keep rallying. We'll adjust our targets as we go along, but this could easily run back up to 6,250, which is basically 2 times this move here, easily. Don't know when, don't know we'll get there by the end of the year. It could, but definitely in 2025, I think it's going to be rallying up through here. All right, let's have a look at some of the other markets. Some of the more frustrating markets recently, I guess oil has been a bit of a frustrating one. It's been threatening to break out lower. This is the weekly chart. Now, I've done some time counts, which is interesting. So you can see from the all-time low, or the most recent low back in April 2020, COVID low, the market moved up here. If we look at some time counts, it's moved up 98 weeks, all right, which is basically 686 days. Then we pulled back and we did a low after 59 weeks. We made a low down here, about 420 days. Then we've pulled back up 21 days, which was, 21 weeks, which is 147 days. Now we're pulling back to here. Now, this movement down through here, we've been trading for 62 weeks. So 62 weeks, I think we're going to see a turn somewhere in this market. Obviously, the trend is down. However, it is trying to go back up. You can see here on the weekly chart, we're trying to swing back up. However, we are still trying to swing back down. If you look at the trend lines, you can see here the market's going into this kind of wedge pattern, like so, or even like so, right? So it's, if it's going to go long, well, we probably want to see it break out above 75, above this trend line, and then we'll probably look to see it push all the way back up, maybe up to the last high back here around $87. However, it is just really tight, compressed. If anything, it is trying to go down, but it's struggling to break these lows. It's been down here for 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts on the weekly chart down. So if we look at that in terms of how many days we've been hanging out, or how many weeks we've been basically consolidating in a really tight price range, basically 12 weeks. Right, we've been trading a very tight range, basically through 1,385 ticks, which is about a $13.85 range on oil, and it's tightening right up. So you can see the range over the last 6 weeks has probably been around about about $6. So oil is not fluctuating much in price at all. So it is due for a breakout. This is definitely coiling. Which way is it going to go? Well, obviously, if it's going to go low, you want to see the break of these lower trend lines. You want to see it get under $65, and then we could break all the way down to these, down to $40. I don't think it will get down to 40, but technically it could. Obviously, 55, that prior low, could be a level we could get down to. But it's got to get under $65. But however, if it does continue to go up and breaks over 75, then that would be the breakout point on that market there. Let's have a look at gold. Gold is also consolidating as well. And see how bullish it was leading into 2024. Very bullish. Now, election results come out, market has sold off. Now you can see how we're just coiling also as well. I think we are getting ready for another breakout to the high side at some point. You can just see, if we just look at some of these lines, we don't really have a trend line to the downside yet, but you can see that's kind of like a trend line from that low to that low. You can see we're overlapping. We're very balanced on this daily chart. So we want to see basically the balance zone right now. I'll just delete this, but the balance zone we're dealing with right now is this outside candle. That's really the price frame that we're dealing with, around 2,644 to about 2,689. So once again, around about $45. This market is ranged in between, but we're really stuck in this range here. We've got quite a large imbalance zone here that the market hasn't filled from there to there. And also we've got an imbalance zone down from here to here as well. So there's a couple of imbalance zones that could get filled on gold. You can see the market came down and tested in this imbalance zone. So that's a fairly bullish sign. So I would be looking for a breakout above this upper trend line if you're trading long-term in the gold market. But short-term, day trading gold, definitely going to be using that high and that low as your balance range. You want to see the market break out of that zone, then look for continuation long, or if it fails, look for shorts back down. But you can see we're basically hanging around the 50% of that range. So it's pretty tight. What is the next market that's everyone's talking about? Obviously, cryptocurrency is massive. So the big daddy of crypto is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is very similar to gold right now, very much ranging. However, we are holding above the 50, which is a bullish sign, which is around about a $96,408 mark. We're holding above that. So Bitcoin is still holding bullish signs. And it just looks like it's consolidating at the moment. So once again, we're coiling at this point in time. If we use some trend line work, you can see that's pretty much the trend lines that we're dealing with. Everything's snapping, guys, so I'll get rid of that snap. So from here to here, and then from there to there. So you can see we're going into a bit of a bullish pennant right now. So break of this trend line would be some shorting signs. Break of this trend line and holding would be looking for long on the long term. But once again, the market looks fairly balanced. I would be using, in terms of balance, you can see this bar here was creating some balance there. So if we just look at this fib here, from there to there, you can see how this market, that day there is quite a substantial day. And see we're holding above the 50% at 95582. So that's a really key support level. And however, we are struggling into the 76 of that bar there. So this bar is basically the balance range that we're currently dealing with. You can see the market has tried to break out of balance. Now we've come back into balance, but we're really failing to test the lower balance, which is down at 92,000. But the market could, if we see any breakdowns, I think, look, if we see it break this trend line, I'll look for a target down to 92,000 or 92,600 is down there at that liquidity zone there. So guys, that pretty much concludes the podcast today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Once again, in terms of holidays coming up, we've still got our live trading rooms running right up until Christmas. We'll be starting back. Our trading room is back on the 6th of January. I'm going to have a break from doing some analysis. I need some time out. It's been a very hectic year. I need some time out from the charts. So I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break from analysis, but I'll be back in 2025 with our Trading Success podcast again. So thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. And hopefully you're enjoying what you're getting. Make sure you click subscribe. Make sure you like it. And also make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can get all of these updates when we start back in 2025. Have a great Christmas, everyone, and stay safe and have a good time. Lots of love, and bye for now.